My student walked into class with his grandmother and a bag of shredded paper, and honestly, I didn't know whether to be impressed or concerned. I've been teaching high school English for about 7 years, and I thought I'd heard every homework excuse in the book. Kids blame their dogs, their siblings, their internet connection. It's all pretty standard stuff. But then there was Marcus. This kid was brilliant when he applied himself, but homework wasn't really his thing. The difference was, Marcus didn't just shrug and take the zero. He'd craft these incredibly detailed stories that were so oddly specific, you'd find yourself wondering if maybe they were actually true. So one Monday morning, Marcus walks in looking genuinely rattled. Not his usual relaxed vibe at all. I'm making my rounds collecting the weekend essay assignment, which was worth a significant portion of their grade. When I get to Marcus, he just looks up at me with this defeated expression and says he doesn't have it. I'm standing there like, all right, Marcus, let's hear it. What happened this time? I'm expecting maybe a 30-second explanation, but this kid takes a deep breath and launches into the most insanely detailed story I've ever heard from a student. According to Marcus, his grandmother owns this African gray parrot named Vincent. She's had this bird for 2 decades, and apparently Vincent can talk, mimic sounds, the whole 9 yards. Marcus tells me he finished his essay Sunday afternoon and printed it out at his grandmother's place, where he'd been staying for the weekend. He left the printed essay on the kitchen table while he went outside to help his grandma carrying groceries. When he came back inside, Vincent had somehow escaped from his cage and was actively destroying his essay. Not eating it, mind you, shredding it, methodically tearing it into confetti-sized pieces. Marcus said he tried to intervene, but the bird had apparently developed some kind of personal grudge against his homework and demolished the entire thing before he could save even a page. It gets better. Marcus said he tried to reprint the essay, but his grandmother's printer was completely out of ink, and he didn't have the file backed up anywhere because he'd written the whole thing on his grandmother's ancient desktop computer, which decided to crash and die permanently right after he'd printed it the first time. No cloud backup, no email draft, nothing. I'm standing there trying to keep a straight face. Marcus, come on. This is elaborate, even by your standards. I told him he had until the next day to turn something in for half credit, figuring that was generous enough. After class ended, Marcus actually approached my desk looking genuinely distressed. Miss Caroline, I'm being completely serious. This actually happened. I know I've pushed it before, but I'm not making this up. Then he pulls out his phone and shows me this video his grandmother had apparently filmed. It's footage of Vincent the parrot sitting on the kitchen table, surrounded by what looked like a snowstorm of tiny paper shreds, looking absolutely pleased with himself. I watched the video, still skeptical, because honestly it could have been any paper. I told Marcus I need something more concrete. I wasn't trying to be harsh, but I couldn't just accept a video of a bird near some shredded paper as definitive proof. The next morning, Marcus walks into my classroom before first period with his rewritten essay and his grandmother. His actual grandmother. This sweet woman, probably in her mid-70s, walks in carrying a photo album under her arm. She sits down at one of the student desks and starts showing me pictures of Vincent throughout the years. Baby Vincent, teenage Vincent, present-day Vincent. She's telling me all these stories about how Vincent has always had this bizarre obsession with paper, how he'll ignore everything else but go absolutely feral if there's paper within reach. She felt terrible about what happened to Marcus's homework and explained how he'd stayed up until almost 2 in the morning rewriting the entire essay from memory. Then she reaches in her purse and pulls out a small plastic bag containing some of the shredded paper pieces. And I could see it. Fragments of Marcus's essay header were clearly visible on several pieces. His name, the date, part of the title. I just sat there completely stunned. Either this was the most elaborate homework excuse conspiracy ever orchestrated, involving a grandmother willing to come to school as an accomplice and a paper-destroying parrot as the fall guy, or this absolutely ridiculous story was completely true. I gave Marcus full credit for the rewritten essay. What else was I supposed to do? His grandmother was sitting there with a photo album and physical evidence. Sometimes the truth really is stranger than any excuse you can make up. If you've got your own wild teaching stories or crazy excuses you've heard, drop them in the comments.